Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. More on that later. Welcome to the age of aesthetics. In a world that's dominated by social media, the obsession with aesthetics has reached unprecedented heights. There are so many aesthetics out there that I cannot even keep track. There's coquette, dark academia, vaporwave, soft girl, that girl, clean girl. There's just so many that I was getting a headache just trying to research for this video. Oh yeah, also there's those beige people who want their whole house to be beige and they paint their children's toys beige just so it matches the aesthetic of the house. It's a whole mess, and I used to think that aesthetics were cute, but now it's kind of getting to a point where aesthetics are not really cute anymore and the obsession is real. But what is it about aesthetics that captivate us so deeply? And take a shot every time I say aesthetic in this video. Well, if you're of age though in your country. If you're not, take a shot of apple juice. The term aesthetics comes from a Greek word that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but I'll put it on the screen right here so you can read it, and it means the perception of senses. It first entered English language in 1798, initially referring to the science of sensuous perception. Over the centuries, as society has evolved, so has this term. By 1821, the word aesthetics meant the appreciation of the beautiful, and this definition still holds true to this day. It's all about the appreciation of beauty and good taste. It's the visual style that defines our spaces, our fashion, and even our online presence. From minimalism to maximalism, vintage to modern, there are countless aesthetic styles that people embrace. Or should I say obsess over? So in today's video, I want to talk about y'all's obsession with aesthetic, with becoming the clean girl, that girl, soft girl, cold girl, warm girl. There's a lot we need to talk about. And let's answer these questions by the end of today's video. Why are we obsessed with aesthetics in the first place? And is individuality dead? Dun dun dun. Let's talk about it. And you shouldn't obsess over the latest new aesthetic, but you should obsess over how to keep yourself safe on the internet, and you can do that by using today's video sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN safeguards your online identity by encrypting all of your data exchanged between your device and the internet. This ensures that your personal information stays secure from corporations and cyber criminals. If you couldn't tell, I spend a lot of time on the internet. I think it's pretty obvious, but whatever. And I have a lot of important information on the internet, so I definitely want to do my best to keep myself safe, and Surfshark VPN helps me do that. I get a lot of my work done in the library or my local cafe. Just because you need a change of scenery sometimes, the same four walls can make me feel claustrophobic, so sometimes I need to go out there and just have a new scenery. So I do that a lot, but I use public Wi-Fi when I go out, and if you don't know, public Wi-Fi is actually one of the easiest Wi-Fis to hack. So to protect myself when I'm out and about, I use Surfshark VPN to hide my information and data from all these hackers that be trying to hack you. Also, Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing attempts, letting you browse the web safely with a peace of mind. I have a fear of my laptop getting hacked or infected with a virus because I got a lot of information in this girl. This girl got a lot of information. So I need to keep her safe, and that's why I use Surfshark VPN to help with that. Another bonus is that you can change your online location by using Surfshark VPN, and you can access content that is blocked in your area on Netflix or other streaming platforms. So if you're not concerned with your online data security, which you should be, you'll definitely appreciate having the ability to watch shows that are blocked in your region. To make everything better, Surfshark is also offering a 30-day money-back guaranteed, so there's truly no risk to trying out Surfshark. And when you use the code NKsWorld, you get an extra 4 months for free. So there's no excuse why you're not keeping yourself protected on the internet. You can also click the link in the description box to try out Surfshark VPN for yourself. So thank you to Surfshark VPN for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get into y'all's problematic obsession with these aesthetics. Yeah. Part 1. The definition and evolution of aesthetics. Let's kick off today's video with a deep dive into what an aesthetic really is and how its meaning has evolved over time. It feels like somewhere along the line we've lost the plot when it comes to discussing aesthetics. And is it just me, or has TikTok taken this obsession to a whole new level? Pinterest used to be the go-to spot for finding your perfect aesthetic, but now TikTok has taken over. So don't we just love TikTok? Anyways, let's get into it. As I mentioned earlier, the word aesthetics comes from the Greek word aestheiko, Maybe that's how you say it. I don't know. Sorry, I cannot pronounce stuff. And it meant relating to the perception by the senses. And it was all about appreciating beauty and good taste. This concept transcends mere appearance. It's a comprehensive experience that engages our senses and emotions. It shapes the environments we inhabit and influences the way we express ourselves to the world. Imagine walking into a room where every element, from the furniture to the artwork, harmonizes to create a sense of tranquility and elegance. This is the essence of aesthetics, the deliberate choice of colors, textures, and forms to invoke a particular feeling or mood. The simplicity of minimalism emphasizes clean lines and a clutter-free environment, and it just invokes feelings of peace, tranquility, and just calmness. Just clean and spacious and free and open. That's the vibe that I get. I like it, but it's a little too minimal for me. Some houses just be giving me creepy vibes. But I feel like when I think of minimalism, I think of Kim Kardashian's haunted house. Okay, it's not haunted, but it looks haunted because it's just so white and empty. Like I need like a home vibe. I want it to be clean, but just give me a vibe. You know what I mean? Just give me the light and I can stop. Also consider the carefree vibes of the bohemian style. With its eclectic mix of patterns, vibrant colors, and global influences, this aesthetic invites a sense of adventure and creativity, and it makes me feel like I want to break out of the conventional norms of society and just embrace my individuality. It's not quite my aesthetic though, but to be honest, I don't even think I have an aesthetic. I just be wearing whatever, my room is just whatever. Maybe I have an aesthetic. The no aesthetic. Is that a thing? On the other hand, the clean lines and functional elegance of modern design reflects a commitment to innovation and a forward-thinking mindset. When compared to minimalism, modern design is even more appealing because of its simplicity and sophistication. With modern design, I get a more homey feeling, but minimalism, I just try to get into it, but maybe I just have too much clothes or just too much things in general. I think I either need more space or I need to stop buying clothes, so one or the other. Sorry to shit on the minimalism aesthetic. If that's your aesthetic, it's not bad, but it just does not work out for me. And it just gives me museum and soulless vibes because there's nothing to like show personality there.
Where's the flavor in this? I don't taste anything.
That's just me though, but a lot of these new aesthetics have no soul. But that's some tea we'll talk about later in today's video. Not me being messy. Each aesthetic style tells a unique story and offers a different perspective on beauty and functionality. But aesthetics don't only influence the environment that we live in, but it also influences our appearance. And that's what we're gonna be mostly discussing in today's video. In fashion, aesthetics play a crucial role in how we present ourselves. Whether it's the timeless sophistication of classic style, the bold statements of avant-garde. Is that how you say it? Avant-garde? Yes, I think so.
Avant-garde.
Or the relaxed comfort of athleisure, our clothing choices are a form of self-expression, whether we realize it or not. Think about what you have on right now. Just look at your top or your pants or whatever, if you have any clothes on right now. So just think of what you're wearing. You put it on for a reason. It represents you somehow. So even if you didn't think too hard about your outfit today, it still represents you to a certain extent. Our clothing communicates so much about us. It communicates our taste, our values, and even our aspirations. Online, aesthetics have become a powerful tool for creating our personal brand. Social media platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, and now TikTok are visual diaries where we showcase our lives through carefully chosen images and themes. And just remember that when you go on someone's page and you start comparing yourself to their life, because their photos are carefully chosen. They're not gonna post photos of themselves crying. I mean, some people do that though. But for the most part, people post the good parts and they post the aesthetic parts of their life. So just remember that the next time you go on TikTok or Instagram, or even Pinterest. Aesthetics on social media are booming right now, and they have been booming for quite a while. Aesthetics are not a new thing. It's been around for what? It's been around for years. Because I remember even growing up too in the 2010s, there was aesthetics that are not as popular as they are today. There was, I know, vaporwave. I don't know why my mind's blanking right now, but right now I can just think of vaporwave. And aesthetics have always been popular, but I just feel like right now in the 2020s, they're super popular. And it feels like if you want to blow up on a certain platform, you have to have an aesthetic to blow up, basically. You have to fit into a box and make the aesthetic very, desirable for people, and that's how you blow up. Well, at least that's how it feels like for me. When I first started my social media journey, well, not my very first attempt because I've had a lot of attempts, but my most recent, I guess I would say, before this attempt, I was trying to be a lifestyle beauty vlogger type girl, but no matter how consistent I was with posting, I just never blew up. I never had a video that did well. It just was not doing what it needed to do for me. Then I stumbled upon a video on my For You page, and I don't remember this creator's name because it was a while ago, but she was a very successful lifestyle creator on TikTok, and I think she had a YouTube channel as well too, and Instagram. Anyways, she was popping. That's all you need to know. And she had a clean girl / minimalistic aesthetic, and it was really working for her. In the comments, people were always talking about her aesthetic. Oh, I want to have an aesthetic like yours. Oh, your apartment is such an aesthetic. Your vibe is an aesthetic. You look like an aesthetic. That was a lot of the comments that I was reading. I was like, oh, okay. If this minimalism clean girl aesthetic is working for her, then maybe I need to try it too. And that's actually why I tried to get into the minimalism aesthetic. I tried and I failed. And it's just funny too, because one thing I've noticed as I get older and also just being on the internet a lot, once you develop a certain aesthetic and it's desirable to the masses, then people automatically think that your life is amazing and your vibe is just amazing because you're an aesthetic person. And at this point, aesthetic just means pretty. That's how I see it. If someone calls you an aesthetic, you're pretty. If they call your apartment an aesthetic, you have a pretty apartment. And I guess that does make sense because aesthetic is the appreciation of beauty. And honestly, I'm guilty of this too, because when I see people with beautiful homes and stylish outfits that fit a certain aesthetic and it just looks pretty, I automatically think that their entire life must be incredible. But in reality, only their house might be amazing because I actually know nothing about their life. I just feel like maybe aesthetics are too limiting for myself because I have so much different taste and different stuff. I like that classy, elegant look, but I also like the streetwear vibe. The baggy clothes are also fitted clothes. I'm just all over the place, so I can't put myself into one box. Even if you look at my Instagram, I don't think you can see an aesthetic. I don't think you can look at my Instagram and choose an aesthetic or say, okay, you're this aesthetic. If you feel like you can classify me into an aesthetic, tell me, because I'm very curious. Maybe I just haven't heard of that aesthetic before. But anyways, I'm getting off track, so let me stop talking about my lack of an aesthetic. And I would say that the beauty of aesthetics used to lie in its versatility and its ability to evolve. And when I mean evolve, I mean like evolve within like a couple years, not within a couple months. Aesthetics that were popular, they would last for a while. They would at least last a full year, 1 or 2 years, 3 years. But now aesthetics come so quickly. They come and they're gone. So it's like a couple months versus years. And that's what I really miss about the old aesthetics, because it just had more oomph to it. You know what I mean? Ultimately, aesthetics used to be more than just a superficial concern. It was about creating environments and experiences that resonated with our inner selves, bringing joy, comfort, and inspiration into our daily lives. It was about recognizing the power of beauty to transform our spaces, uplift our spirits, and to express. However, modern day aesthetics lack the depth and oomph that these older aesthetics used to have. I know I said that aesthetics basically just means pretty nowadays, but let's actually look up the definition and see what aesthetics means. So there's 4 definitions, but I'm just going to read one of that because ain't nobody trying to read all day. I'm just kidding. So it says, relating to the philosophy of aesthetics, concerned with the notions such as beauty and the ugly. So it just sounds like aesthetics are all about looks, which makes sense because we are already obsessed with looks. We already know how that goes. Beauty, all that, looking pretty. We already know. If you watch my videos, you already know that looking pretty and looking cute and young and all that is desirable. And when you're desirable, your life is easier to a certain extent. And it's definitely way easier if you're on TikTok because you can use that to your advantage and build a whole brand off of being pretty. So, and make some money. Definitely looking cute, looking pretty, being an aesthetic is going to benefit you on TikTok. But not only TikTok too, even YouTube as well. There's some lifestyle vloggers too that I really like their vibe, and I guess we can call that their aesthetic. So I watch them for that. It doesn't only have to be on like TikTok or Instagram, but I will say though that the YouTube girlies, there's like more personality and more depth to them. Maybe because the videos are longer, so you can see their personality more. However, this obsession with looks and aesthetics drives us to pursue something that's devoid of any soul, real meaning, or any depth. Aesthetics are superficial and fail to provide us with any sense of true belonging or foster an actual community. Because how could you foster a community based just on looks? Like you're all pretty, so you're gonna join a community. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't even make sense to begin with. Also, this is a side note. This just made me think of the discussion where people say stop choosing friends based on an aesthetic and choose friends that are actually good people because that's why you have no friends. So I have seen that discussion a lot on TikTok as well. And obviously that does make sense. If you're just choosing friends based on how they look because you think they'll make a cute photo op on your Instagram, then you're in for a rude awakening. You cannot bond over someone based on looks. If it's a relationship or friendship, whatever it is, it's not gonna work. You need depth, you need actual oomph in that relationship. So that's just very shallow, not gonna work, and you're gonna be lonely. And you're gonna wonder why you're lonely, but then you're gonna blame everyone else instead of actually looking at yourself, because social media has really made us not want to take accountability for a lot of things now. We can't all be right, but for some reason, everyone thinks that. Also, a lot of these aesthetics are just the same thing. They just repackage it, change the name, and hope that we don't realize it's the same thing, when it's literally the same thing. Just tell me, what is cold girl winter? What the hell is that? I'm gonna show you guys pictures of this aesthetic, well, this so-called aesthetic. I'm gonna show you pictures and tell me if you can see anything that stands out, that makes it special, that makes it. I don't know what aesthetic already embodies this, but I feel like this cold girl aesthetic has already existed, but they just added this stupid name. I'm sorry, when I heard this name, I was like, what is this?
Oh my God, what is that?
Y'all really just try to aesthetic. Is that a word? Because you know fetishize is a word, but aesthetic size, I don't think that's a word. Anyways, you guys just try to, not you, but you know who I'm talking about. You guys just try to make everything an aesthetic, and no, I'm gonna reject that. I'm rejecting the cold girl aesthetic. Even low-key, the clean girl aesthetic looks like the old money aesthetic in a way. I guess there's like some differences-ish. Maybe I'm just generalizing them, but they do look very, very similar. But also I am getting ahead of myself because I do want to talk about the different aesthetics in the next section of today's video. So let's just keep on going and let's get into it. Part 2, the rise of aesthetic culture and the fall of subcultures. So as we know, aesthetic is related to everything beauty. However, the definition of aesthetic has been intermingled with the definition of subculture. The two are quite different, but there seems to be some confusion between them. So let's sort out that difference in this section and talk about some of these interesting aesthetics that are low-key the same thing. So anyways, let's get into it. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, aesthetic culture has surged on social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram, where visuals reign supreme. It's no longer about personal style. It's all about creating a visually cohesive identity that resonates with a broad audience, or just having your room set up in a way that's visually appealing that people desire. From the whimsical charm of cottagecore to the intellectual allure of dark academia and the nostalgic vibes of vaporwave, aesthetic trends have captured the imagination of millions worldwide. A lot of people try to emulate these aesthetics for several reasons. Maybe it's to fit in, to feel pretty, or to grow on social media. Anyways, as usual, I asked you guys some questions on the gram, just asking about your thoughts on the aesthetic culture, and this is what y'all had to say. So the first question I asked was, which aesthetic trend do you like the most? I put femme fatale, clean girl, coquette, and dark academia. So clean girl aesthetic was the winner, but femme fatale was close, but I did expect the clean girl one to win. I mostly see the clean girl aesthetic on my For You page anyways, or on Instagram or wherever I go, but maybe it's just because that's the content I was consuming for such a long time. But after doing more research, I did notice that a lot of other aesthetics are quite popular too. I still feel like the clean girls pop in. Dare I say the most popular, because it's probably the easiest one to emulate. The next question I asked is, what do you think is driving the rise of aesthetic culture? So the winner was the desire to fit in, and this makes sense. No matter how many times you think that you don't need friends, you don't need anybody, you need somebody. You need somebody. What's the song? I could use somebody. Yeah, we need somebody. But we all have a desire to fit in or to belong to some sort of community. Because what's that saying? If you want to go quick, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with someone. You need company, right? So people can use an aesthetic as a way to meet other people with similar interests and to create a community. However, these new aesthetics come way too quickly and leave too quickly, and also lack any depth or soul to them. At least from what I can see, there's no way to actually build a connection or fit in, because you can't bond over something as vain as looks. Like, sure, appearance is important, but it's not everything. And another popular answer was the influence of influencers and celebrities. This one is T, because for the clean girl aesthetic, I think of Hailey Bieber as the poster girl. There's other celebrities and influencers who promote this aesthetic, but for her, every time I watch a video that's talking about the clean girl aesthetic, they reference her, they mention her, or they show her picture, just kind of like the poster girl for the clean girl look. And when influencers or celebrities can have such a strong influence on what aesthetics pop off and what aesthetics don't pop off, they can use this to to their advantage to sell you stuff. And it's not just celebrities too, corporations do this all the time. But celebrities, let's say Hailey Bieber she's like known as a clean girl. So let's say she starts selling tops or clothing or makeup. Well, I think she sells makeup. But anyways, she's selling clothes or makeup to promise that clean girl look. So she can easily capitalize off of that. Not saying that she does. She does have a makeup brand though. I haven't checked it out though. But that's another reason why I don't like these new aesthetics, because you can't even enjoy it. It's just all about money. Okay, we have a new aesthetic. Now, how can we make money off of this and grab as much coin from people as we can? That's how I view all the new aesthetics. Everything is just, what's the word? Commodified?
Commodified.
To the point where it's just annoying, because like, bruh, like, can we just enjoy something? Can it be authentic without money involved? But money's always involved, unfortunately, because we live in a very capitalist, greedy society. And let's say you're curious about a certain aesthetic, and then you go online and you search it up. What is cottage girl core or whatever? Chances are the first article or the first couple articles you're gonna click on are gonna have links to outfits or clothing or accessories that you can buy to fit that aesthetic, because it's all about money. Sure, they're gonna explain it in the beginning, but then it's gonna include links. That's what I saw a lot. I remember when I was searching up the clean girl aesthetic, this brand, I think they sell glasses. They talked about the clean girl aesthetic and they said you have to have different pairs of glasses. So they linked their glasses so you can buy and give them money. I know everyone has to market somehow and make money, so I get that, but it's just too much. With the aesthetics, it just feels like aesthetics are made now just to make money. This over commodification, I hope this is the right word I'm using, and over commodification of these aesthetics and just trying to milk all the money we got is annoying. But since we look up to celebrities because we think they're smart and just beautiful and they got money and they're intelligent, we think that emulating their aesthetic will give us the results that they have. But that's not the case. You can't dress like Hailey Bieber and then get Hailey Bieber money. That's not how it works. You might be like, nah, I don't care about celebrities, fuck celebrities. But it's actually a subconscious act, because you really may think that you're not easily influenced by them. Maybe you're not, but if you're seeing the same thing over and over again, maybe you see them on your screen a lot, you see this outfit a lot, you're gonna subconsciously be like, oh, I really like that top, but maybe it's because you saw that top 10,000 times this whole week and you're like, okay, let me buy it. And that's how marketing works. They keep showing it to you and then boom, you give in. So it's really just a subconscious act. They get into our psyche or whatever, you know, it's a mind game. Okay, so the last question I asked is aesthetic culture ruining individuality? And the majority of you responded with, it can enhance and hinder your individuality. This perspective acknowledges that yes, aesthetics can give you a framework for self-expression. However, it can also impose limitations and force you to feel like you have to conform to this aesthetic or else you're failing your community and you're a failure and you got no life. On the other hand, there's a strong sentiment that aesthetics do indeed ruin individuality, urging people to go out and find their own unique styles. This view suggests that constantly chasing trends and fitting into predefined categories can stifle personal growth and self-discovery. And I do lean towards this perspective more, only because modern day aesthetics are just too much. They don't only control how you look, but they also control the hobbies you should engage in and what type of coffee you should drink. Why is coffee an aesthetic? Girl, let me just drink my coffee in peace. But basically what I was just trying to say is that every area of your life does not have to be an aesthetic. Your coffee doesn't have to be an aesthetic. Your car doesn't have to be an aesthetic, because realistically, if you want your whole life to be an aesthetic, you have to have money. That's the only way. Because aesthetic is pretty and money can buy pretty. Money can buy really nice stuff. It can get you a nice home, a nice apartment, a nice car and all that. But if you don't have money, it's going to be hard to get that aesthetic that you want. But I just feel like the weirdest part of it all is the fact that some of these aesthetics dictate your life to the T. That's giving cult vibes. Is that an aesthetic or is it a cult? But thank you to everyone who participated in the polls. I really do like getting your insight on the topics that I talk about in my video. So yeah, if you want to join the conversation, feel free to go over to Instagram and K's World, period, you know, the vibes. And I just like Instagram better for the polls because it's more interactive. So I can actually like talk to y'all and be like, okay, like, why did you say this? Or why did you say that? Or you can explain your reasoning more. So let's continue with the video. So now I just want to break down the difference between aesthetics and subcultures, just so we're all on the same page moving forward. If there's anything you want to add or anything that I missed, let us know in the comments down below so we can all be aware of what an aesthetic and what a subculture is. If you have spent any significant amount of time on the internet, then you've probably encountered a couple subcultures. Even before the internet was a thing, subcultures existed, but it's easier to learn about them now that the internet exists. Dictionary.com defines a subculture as a group having social, economic, ethnic, or other traits distinctive enough to distinguish it from others within the same culture or society. This definition is broad because it has to encompass all forms of subcultures, because there is so many out there, such as hippies, goths, punk rock, and so much more. So in short, a subculture subculture is a form of cultural or social deviation from the norm with a strict set of rules. On the other hand, we define aesthetics as being all about beauty and appearance. So aesthetic is someone's style, which people may gather around and imitate. We see it all the time. So when we compare these definitions, there's a clear distinction between subcultures and aesthetics, but there's also room for confusion. This confusion stems from the superficial approach to understanding that is promoted by social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. They prioritize quick visual content over in-depth explanation. And that's why I love YouTube, because you get the full picture, you get the full vibe of everything. You don't have to only work with 30 seconds of content. And I can't even blame TikTokers or Instagrammers who post short form videos, because that's what the algorithm favors at the end of the day. However, there's only so much information you can get within 30 seconds. But I have seen a lot of good videos on TikTok that do explain aesthetics, and I wanted to show you one because I thought it was good. Roll it clear.
Let's talk about the rise of the core suffix and how it ties in with capitalism and hyperconsumerism. Core comes from the French word meaning heart, and core aesthetics originally became really popular on Tumblr. But the origins of the suffix predate the site, with the term hardcore dating back to about a century ago. The most popular aesthetics on my side of Tumblr were ones that were related to 90s nostalgia, like 90s anime and lo-fi music. I also used the wave suffix a lot on Tumblr as well, like vaporwave. But now literally everything has been turned into a core. Fairy core, angel core, goth core, gyaru core, cute core. These aesthetics aren't cultivating actual subcultural communities that bond over shared experiences and interests. Rather, they are boxes that young people feel pressure to put themselves in so that they can be easily marketed to. A lot of these cores and aesthetics are convenient search terms to use when looking for certain types of clothing. They're also forcing a lot of young people to believe that they have to stuff themselves into one of these boxes to have a true self-identity. These fast fashion corporations like Shein are literally looking at Gen Z and saying, hey, we can help you buy a personality and identity, which I think is causing a lot of Gen Z to have an identity crisis, but it's also preventing us from creating our own new fashion styles and subcultures. Even the newer core aesthetics that people are coming up with are really just recycled Japanese and American fashion trends. I also just find the core suffix to be a really inefficient way to categorize different fashion styles, because again, literally anything is a core now. You can make flower core a thing, you know what I mean? A lot of them are just the same elements renamed in very, very slightly different packaging, to the point where a lot of them feel empty. Does that make sense?
So that was a great explanation. I really liked it. And I do agree, because all these aesthetics just lack soul, they lack substance. They're not really giving anything. It's just giving the same thing repackaged over and over and over again, so these corporations can make money. I came here to drop some money, dropping all my money. With the subculture, there are actual values that bring the community together in a way that goes much more deeper than just the appearance of the members of the subculture. For a subculture to develop, it needs a history, much of which predates our existence, if we're being honest. So let's use Japanese streetwear as an example. So it's a foreign culture to most Americans. It includes the vivid, dramatic fashion seen in Harajuku, Japan. Harajuku fashion, specifically Lolita fashion, is more than just clothing. It was part of a feminist movement in the 90s. In the article, The Rejection of Normative Culture Through Lolita Fashion rejects the social norms of working in an office and pursues ownership of the female body, resisting the sexualized dress, male gaze, and male-created beauty standards. Subcultures are built on shared desires that transcend aesthetics, but often gather under them, if that makes sense. And this is a side note, but I've been trying to embrace more of a streetwear aesthetic, not completely streetwear, but just hints of streetwear in my style, just because I like the idea of having baggy clothes and being more, I guess modest is the word. Yeah, modest, I would say. Because before, I was trying to be like a fashion girly, like a fashion influencer and stuff, but I felt like I had to like wear dresses all the time, crop tops and skirts and all that. I still like wearing them, but I just like wearing them in a way that I feel like is true to me rather than doing what I think people want to see, if that makes sense. Some of the outfits I wore, I'm just like, well, yeah, it shows my shape nicely, it shows my body, so it should give me views. Low-key, that was the thinking. Because if you're on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, a lot of these girls, and not all of them though, but I've seen quite a few of them, they're fashion girlies. Some of them, the fashion sense is not really fashioning to me, or it's not really standout material, or it's not really doing much, but they have a very, very nice body. Let's say they're doing a get ready with me and they have only the bra and underwear on, or they start the video with their back to the camera so we can see their whole booty. But I'm basically just trying to say that when you dress in a way that appeases the male gaze, that shows your body, that does help you get clicks and views. And I'm not hating on the girls who are doing that or anyone who does that, because sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And I was trying to do that too. So I can't get mad at them for just playing the game, basically. honestly. But I am happy that my fashion content creation didn't pop off, because I feel like I would have been boxed in and would have been forced to be wearing skirts and jumpsuits, bodysuits, and short dresses forever, because that's the aesthetic that I came off on, right? I definitely am happy with the ability to embrace streetwear more, or just change my style without feeling confined to one certain style because I think that style is gonna do well or get me views and clicks. That's just a little side note about MK, period. But going back to what I was saying before, subcultures are deeper than just an aesthetic, and they involve a smaller group deviating away from the masses. Subcultures have beliefs and values that bring people together to create a community, while these aesthetics don't do that at all. So does this mean that aesthetics are bad? Well, no, not everything has to have a super deep meaning to it. However, there is an obsession with aesthetics, and the fact that it has no depth to it doesn't really help, because we're obsessing over something that really has no substance. I kept getting headaches when I was trying to figure out which aesthetic is popping right now and which one is not, because there is just so many aesthetics out there. Half of them are the same. Y'all not tired? Anyways, let's highlight some of these aesthetics, and the first one being the coquette aesthetic. I feel like I'm saying that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right. Coquette.
Coquette.
This one is my least favorite, I have to say, because I just don't like the fashion sense. Sorry if you like this fashion sense, but it's not really giving what it needs to give me, and also just gives you creepy vibes. Have you watched The Shining? The Shining, with that movie with those two twins, those creepy little girls. When I think of coquette, I think of that. This aesthetic is not cute to me, but it is popular on TikTok, and it's actually popular outside of TikTok as well. The coquette aesthetic has been making waves for several seasons now. While it's not entirely new, it has recently surged in popularity, and it's poised to become one of the biggest fashion trends in 2024, according to this article. According to Oxford Languages, coquette simply means a woman who flirts. Broad definition, but I'll take it. And this trend features details like lace, pearls, bows, often in pastel colors. And I do like the bows in the hair, I'll say that for sure. Plus, I've been seeing a lot of bows on my For You page, so I guess the trend is quite popular. Anyways, other hallmarks of this look include ballet flats, Mary Jane shoes, corsets or puffy sleeves, which I don't wear because I feel like I look like a man with puffy sleeves. Originally, this aesthetic was popular among younger TikTok-obsessed crowds who would post aesthetic videos showcasing the style. Coquette looks have started entering the mainstream, even appearing on racks at stores like Anthropologie and Walmart. This makes sense because all of these aesthetics, as soon as they become popular, boom, corporations attack them and try to milk all the money they can milk out of that aesthetic. And this style draws from numerous influences, particularly Japanese street style, which is known as Lolita. We talked about that earlier. I know you remember because you're paying attention. Period. Lolita fashion includes Victorian, Rococo, and Baroque elements. So while Lolita fashion emphasizes childlike innocence and modesty, the coquette style can be a bit sexier, with people generally less covered up compared to the Lolita fashion. Lana Del Rey, she's an American singer by the way, if you have not heard of her, she has been cited as an influence on this aesthetic. Her early music and style featured flower crowns, bouffant hairdos, and 1960s inspired clothing that made her stand out at the time. She definitely did not start this trend, but I would say she popularized it for a certain demographic. I would even say that Bridgerton 2 has also influenced the popularization of this aesthetic. And I really do need to understand the hype. Like, I need to sit down one day and just watch Bridgerton, because y'all be talking about it all the time. So I'm just like, what's the tea? What's the hype? But I heard that season 3, the latest season, is basically like corn. So I have to see if I want to engage in that. But the show's fashion pieces has been very influential to our generation, just like Euphoria, because Euphoria, a lot of the girls liked the makeup they did, the styles they were wearing. So a lot of people did do Euphoria inspired makeup tutorials or Euphoria inspired clothing. So both shows have been very influential when it comes to popularizing certain aesthetics and fashion choices and makeup choices. Bridgerton features Regency era costumes with empire waist dresses, satin gloves, and elaborate updos with sparkly crowns. So these outfits do make the characters stand out. Since the show debuted in 2020, this trend has grown alongside brands like Selkie, which is known for their fanciful photo shoots in dreamy settings featuring models with heavily blushed cheeks and soft lighting to highlight their frilly dresses. I checked out the website, and all I'm gonna say is that the clothes are expensive. Like, they're cute, it's not my style, but it is expensive. But when I say that brands push certain aesthetics out there and then capitalize off of it, I'm mostly talking about the big brands like Shein, Fashion Nova, any of those fast fashion brands. Whenever they see something trending, they immediately make it and start pushing it out there and make their coin. Okay, so the next super trendy aesthetic I want to talk about is the clean girl one. I talked about it a bit because this one was my girl back in the day, but now I don't care about it. But this style is closely related to the minimalism and old money aesthetics that's characterized by plain and simple clothing paired with gold jewelry. It's a refined and elegant approach to fashion that emphasizes subtlety and sophistication. Previously, the old money aesthetic was often referred to as the Sophia Richie effect. It's a trend that dominated the fashion world following her marriage and following her shift from dressing how she dressed when she was with Scott Disick. You know Scott from the Kardashian family? So she was dating him for a while and she was dressing more like a Fashion Nova model. But after she broke up with Scott, she started dating this new guy. They're married now. I don't know who he is, but I know he has a lot of money. I mean, she comes from money too. So like both of their money combined is just probably nice for them. Her transition from looking like a Fashion Nova model to how she looks now is called the Sophia Richie effect. But the core principles of this style is quiet luxury and timeless. And capitalism. This aesthetic celebrates classic, understated pieces that exude a sense of wealth and refinement without being ostentatious. However, there's a certain irony in the widespread appeal of the old money aesthetic. Many people aspire to look like this despite not having the financial background associated with old money. It's important to realize that just because you dress like you have old money doesn't mean that you're gonna get old money. That's not really how it works. But the desire to emulate this aesthetic often highlights a fascination with the trappings of wealth, even among those who don't possess it. And I feel like this is another way that the rich get richer because they sell you this aesthetic. They say like, if you want to be like me and be rich, buy my skincare routine, buy my outfit, buy my hair care, buy all this stuff, and then you can become like me, which is not the case. It's basically a trap of you spending all your money to look like them in hopes that you can eventually be like them. But realistically, that's not the case. You can't become Hailey Bieber or Rihanna or Beyonce just by dressing like them. Moreover, the glamorization of these aesthetics can be problematic. It tends to romanticize capitalism and excessive wealth, promoting an image of success and affluence that isn't attainable for everyone, but it's marketed that way. But this does perpetuate unrealistic standards and contributes to a culture of materialism. You know what? You're gonna keep on buying all those stuff, but at the end of the day, if you got no soul, if you don't actually have an identity or individuality, you're just gonna keep buying all these stuff and it's not really gonna do much for you. In the next 2.5 seconds, a new trend is gonna pop up. Anyways, back to the clean girl aesthetic. I've kind of gotten off topic again. The origins can be traced back to July 2021 when this TikTok user, I think her name was Exola Beauty, I'll put her name up here. She posted a video on how to achieve the clean girl makeup look aesthetic and it went viral. So let me show you the video.
You know those girls that always look clean? Their skin is always glowing, their lips are always glossed, and they never ever look like they're wearing too much makeup? It may not be them, but here's how to get their look. Apply concealer to these exact spots and blend upwards using a damp beauty blender. Here I'm using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. By doing this, you'll lift your face up naturally without having to add heavy contour. Next up, brows. Whether you've got a lot of brow or little, all you have to remember is that brows are very powerful tools when it comes to lifting up the face. But instead of brushing your brows upward and straight, which can make you look a bit crazy, brush them upward and diagonal, which gives you a more natural but lifted look. Here I'm using the Kosas Clear Brow Gel, and don't forget to lift the tail, it makes all the difference. Next, gently press some translucent powder, this one is by Innisfree, into the places where your concealer usually creases. So for example, your upper eyelids, under eyes, and around the mouth and nose. Finish off with a light coat of lip gloss, and even if your life's a mess, you look like America's Next Top.
In the video, she's basically promoting the idea of less is more. And it's funny because the goal of the clean girl aesthetic is to appear low maintenance, when in reality, you have to invest a lot to have that look. Nonetheless, the aesthetic did gain popularity, and by 2022 and 2023, it had become a favorite among celebrities and influencers and everyday social media users alike. Famous names like Hailey Bieber, Bella Hadid, Selena Gomez, and Kim Kardashian have all embraced the clean girl aesthetic, contributing to its widespread appeal. And a lot of y'all did say that influencers and celebrities do influence these trends. So yeah, y'all know your shit. You guys know what you're talking about. And it's funny too because in my last video when I was in the premiere with you guys, I was reading the comments and y'all like are actually smart because you were saying some big ass words. I was like, wait, what does that mean? And I had to go search up some words. I was like, wow, I feel dumb, but yeah. Y'all smart. Anyways, the clean girl aesthetic is cute, but I do find it boring. Low-key, high-key, the people who follow it do look the same, very similar. It's like the same medium-sized hoop earrings, the same slick back bun, like the same plain outfit. Like I need some variety, gotta spice it up, you know? If you want to fit into the clean girl aesthetic, all you have to do is one thing. Be clean. I saw this video on Pinterest that was describing this aesthetic, the clean girl aesthetic, and it was basically saying to brush your teeth, wash your hair, wash yourself every day, wear deodorant to moisturize, just basic stuff, like basic hygiene tips. That should already be in your hygiene routine. So y'all are just repackaging hygiene as an aesthetic. Is that what it is? These are basic hygienic things that we should be doing regardless if you want to fit into the clean girl aesthetic or not. Plus, to fit into the clean girl aesthetic, you have to already be pretty because they want you to wear minimal makeup and have clear skin. Ma'am, some of us are ugly, so we need extra reinforcements. Not me though, y'all stay safe. I'm joking, it's a joke. It's a joke. And there are so many aesthetics out there that I couldn't even choose all of them, but I wanted to talk about femme fatale because it's quite popular, and also there are literally books out there to teach you how to become a femme fatale. And if there's anything you do, please don't buy a book on how to become an aesthetic. Like if you don't just go on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube and figure out how to do it. I'm sure what's ever written in that book, you can find it on Google or TikTok or YouTube. It's funny too because the inspirations for this aesthetic are movie characters. So they're not even like real people. It's fake. I can't think of any person who I could say is the poster girl for the femme fatale aesthetic. But yeah, like not y'all trying to be movie characters. This isn't 365 days. Anywho, the femme fatale aesthetic is a timeless and captivating style that draws on the allure and mystique of the archetypal seductive woman. The femme fatale is characterized by her enigmatic charm, intelligence, and often dangerous allure. And this reminds me of the Yo of Babylon, which I talked about in my previous video. Watch it if you have not watched it, period. So the femme fatale concept originated in literature and was popularized in the early 20th century film noir. This character is often depicted as a woman who uses her charm and beauty to manipulate others, usually leading to their downfall. To fit into this aesthetic, you have to wear tailored clothes that emphasize your figure, such as pencil skirts, fitted dresses, or high-waisted trousers. You also have to wear luxurious fabrics such as silk, satin, velvet, and lace as well, because it adds a touch of luxury and sophistication according to the femme fatale experts. And color-wise, you should be wearing blacks, reds, and deep blues and metallic because they are considered dominant colors. Stiletto or pointed toe heels paired with stockings or garter belts are preferred because they enhance the seductive aspect of this aesthetic. And you don't want to forget your trench coats, your fur stoles, and your boleros because these are quite popular in the aesthetic. And the makeup, it's really bold. Dark eyes, bold red lips, dark and smoky eyeshadows and eyeliner. It's just supposed to create a intense, seductive, and mysterious look. And I'm sorry, I find this aesthetic to be the corniest aesthetic out there. Sorry if you're offended, sorry if you like this aesthetic, but it's just not giving. It's just giving fake, like a movie. Are we in a movie? I know the intention is to be mysterious and a boss lady, but it's really not giving that. It's just giving movie character. The high heels, the bold lips, the bold makeup, the bold outfits, the trench coat, all that seems impractical for everyday use. This aesthetic seems like it's more suited for a movie screen than actual everyday life. For some, dressing in this style might feel like playing a role rather than expressing your true self or just emulating the aesthetic. The heavy emphasis on mystery and allure does come off as insincere or forced. I know everyone nowadays wants to be mysterious or try to act mysterious, but girl, you're not. But you know what? I can't even hate though because I was trying to act mysterious too at one point. I was trying to be that girl, but I'm like, I'm not mysterious and that's okay. But whether you love it or can't take it seriously, the femme fatale look remains an iconic part of fashion history, no matter how corny it is in real life. But to summarize this section, the rise of aesthetic culture and the fall of subcultures highlight a significant shift in how people express their identities and find a community. So aesthetic culture prioritizes visual appeal and the creation of a cohesive personal brand. However, the transient nature of these aesthetics and their focus on superficial elements often lack the depth and substance required to build genuine connections. While in contrast, subcultures are rooted in shared values, beliefs, and historical contexts. While aesthetics can be a fun and creative way to express oneself, they shouldn't overshadow the importance of finding genuine connections and building communities based on shared values and experiences. Basically, just don't make it your whole personality. But just because I say that does not mean that y'all are gonna do that. So yeah, but let's still talk about it. Let's understand this obsession with aesthetics. Maybe it's because you don't have a personality. Oop. Did I say it out loud? I'm joking. Let's get to the next section. Part 3, the psychology behind the obsession. Social media aesthetics are super popular for a reason, and that reason is because y'all are obsessed with them. But where does this obsession come from? In this section, I will explore some reasons why I believe this is the case and how we should approach aesthetics moving forward. So Let's get into it. Yeah. So the first reason is the need for belonging. We're getting straight into it. Humans are inherently social creatures, and the desire to fit in and to feel included is in all of us. No matter how much you act like you don't care to fit in, you care to fit into a certain extent. Maybe you don't care to fit into the popular crowd, but you care to fit into at least one of the crowds. Aesthetics provide a readily accessible way to align with the group. By adopting a specific look, individuals signal their membership in a particular social group, even if that group is loosely defined and based on visual cues alone. So this creates a sense of inclusion and reduces feelings of loneliness. However, I do have to argue that social media and the internet in a way can make us more lonelier, but I just really think it depends on how you use it and how often you use it. The next reason is identity formation. In an era where traditional subcultures are less prevalent, aesthetics offer a mean for individuals to explore and express their identities. The visual nature of these trends allow people to experiment with different facets of their personality and see which one resonates most with their self-concept and how they wish to be perceived by others. This process of identity formation is crucial, especially in adolescence and young adulthood, where people are still trying to figure out who they are and figure out their style. Like me, girl, I'm still trying to figure out my style. I'm trying to do what I gotta do. However, clinging on to one aesthetic is not gonna help you, and it's just gonna put you in a box and limit you and also just make you spend an unnecessary amount of money. I think it's better to look at all the aesthetics, look at what's out there, and pick and choose, and maybe just take inspiration from each aesthetic and pull it into one to make it original to you. Like, you don't need to be a carbon copy of all these people. Becoming a carbon copy of a person is not gonna bring you closer to them or bring you closer to other people who are trying to do the exact same thing. Plus, without the influence of social media, these aesthetics would not be as poppin' as they are today. Let's just keep it a stack. Like blah, keep it a stack. These platforms are highly visual and reward content that is aesthetically pleasing. The algorithmic nature of these sites means that visually appealing posts are more likely to go viral, encouraging users to invest time and effort into perfecting that aesthetic. This is very prominent on TikTok and Instagram, well, mostly TikTok, because every 2.5 seconds, a beautiful girl, a beautiful young lady, or a young handsome man is going viral for being attractive. That's why I advise limiting your time on TikTok, because they just be doing too much. Like, yeah, TikTok is cute, but unless you cater your For You page to yourself, then you're fine. But if you're seeing like pretty things 24/7, like pretty apartments, pretty cars, pretty people that you can't have, it's not really fun. Plus, when the algorithm rewards aesthetic over substance, this creates a feedback loop where the pursuit of an aesthetic becomes a means to achieve social media success, further fueling the obsession, which is what I dealt with when I was trying to pop off as a famous fashion beauty blogger on TikTok. As you can even tell in my videos, I feel like I come on with a new style in every single video. It's because I'm experimenting. I'm still recovering from my clean girl aesthetic, so now I have to actually try to find out what I like in life. So yeah. And with social media comes influencers and celebrities, and they play a crucial role in popularizing certain aesthetics, or just things in general. I mentioned figures like Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez, Bella Hadid, and Kim Kardashian, who are just not style icons, but also trendsetters whose choices influence millions. When these influencers adopt a particular aesthetic, it gains credibility and desirability, leading their followers to emulate them in hopes of achieving similar levels of attractiveness, popularity, or perceived success. This aspirational aspect is a powerful psychological driver, as people often look up to and seek to imitate those who they admire. But even though we imitate them, it does not mean that we're gonna be like them. It's a trap, and it's just a way to market to us. Like, let's keep it a stack. Keep it a stack. And speaking of this too, I feel like celebrities should only be allowed to create 3 brands a max. Like, we should put a cap. After that 3 brand mark is up, stop creating brands. It's like every day they're trying to sell us something. Like, girl, chill. If you have more than 3 active businesses, like, rest. Take a break. It's okay. When I feel like everything is about money, then I just like 1 or 2 brands, okay. But when it's like too many brands, it's just a turn off for me personally. Like, girl, like, how rich are you trying to get? Well, if I'm speaking about brands, I should bring up the Kardashians, because all of them combined probably have over 1 million brands together. And all of their brands are meant to sell an aesthetic, to sell the dream, to be like, hey, I look like this and I'm very pretty. And if you buy this product, you can look like me and be very pretty. Like, that's basically what all of their brands are. And at this point, aesthetics are just a form of classism. I remember someone said it, I watched this somewhere, but I can't remember who. but it is. I agree with them, and it's 100% true. Because only someone who has enough wealth has the luxury of buying items required for each new trending aesthetic. Because if your pockets are tight, you cannot be affording an $800 skincare routine just because it's a new trending aesthetic. And this ties into the last reason, which is consumerism and materialism. As brands and marketers capitalize on aesthetic trends, they promote the idea that purchasing certain products will help individuals achieve the desired look. This commercial aspect reinforces the cycle of consumption as people continuously buy new items to stay current with the latest trends. This not only drives sales but also perpetuates the idea that self-worth is tied to appearance and material possessions. We see lavish lifestyles all the time, and by consuming it, we're continuing the cycle. It's not bad to consume aesthetic content, because I definitely do, but just don't let the aesthetic consume you. While aesthetics can be a fun and creative way to express yourself, it's important to understand the deeper psychological forces that are at play. Understanding these forces can make individuals be more conscious and just make better choices on how they want to spend their money and which aesthetic or which outfit they want to indulge in next. So let's focus on having a more balanced approach to aesthetics and not overdoing it. And y'all need to stop with this cold girl, warm girl BS, because I'm gonna have to fight you if you think you're a cold girl. I'm joking. I don't fight. I don't condone violence. But don't let them pressure you into feeling like you have to fit into a box to be pretty or to have a lot of money or to be an aesthetic. As I said, take inspiration from aesthetics, but don't try to be an aesthetic. You're human. But anyways, thank you so much for making it to the end of today's video. I appreciate you. Ooh, and don't forget to check out Surfshark VPN. Start safeguarding yourself online today. The link is in the description box down below. So period. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. So bye.
So without further ado, let's dive into today's word,
Harajuku.
which means...
Shut up, just say Harajuku. Thank you, Harajuku. That's right.